Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Hannah Crapeau, and I'm the Content Marketing Manager here at Certiport. We're so happy to have everyone joining us for our first Ask a Champion webinar today. Now, please note that the session is being recorded, so everyone should be on mute at the moment. If you have questions that you wanted to ask our champion today, feel free to drop those into either the Q&A or the chat feature, and we'll make sure to address those as we go throughout our discussion this afternoon. Today, we're so lucky to have an amazing former competitor with us, Juan Manuel Suarez Garcia, who is from Mexico. He's a former MOS Mexico National Champion and MOS World Championship competitor, and he's a current analytics engineer. So we're going to learn all about his journey to the MOS Championship, what his experience was like, and advice that he has for other competitors. So Juan, we'll go ahead and get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your journey to the MOS Championship.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, for everyone in here that doesn't know me already, I'm Juan Manuel Suarez. I am from Mexico, and currently I'm an analytics engineer working at a Colombian startup, more on the financial side, but doing technology. And yeah, I'm really excited to get on with this because it's been a long journey.
Awesome. And for those who have been watching on social media, I'll drop the link here in just a second, but we've had Juan doing a takeover as leading up to our event today. So we're really excited to learn more about his story from the teasers that he shared. So first question, Juan, that was submitted is, how did you first get involved in certification, and what certifications have you earned?
It's been a long time, but the first certification that I earned was MOS World 2013, I think. And I got involved because my teachers prepared a trip to another city, the city that I currently live in. Is 1 hour away from my home and where my previous school was. And we got the opportunity to get the certification. That time was for free. And yeah, I really like the training and the facilities, and most of it, most of the involvement has to be with my teachers, because I didn't know what was a certification at the time.
And now, how many certifications have you earned? Because you started with 2013, but I know that that's not where it ended.
Sorry, I forgot about that. But I think that about Microsoft, including Office and other technologies, I have like around 27. But I have some others, like from AWS or some other technologies that I currently use at my job. And I also have two certifications from the Society of Actuaries of the United States that are for probability and financial mathematics. That it was more like on my actual career side, because I studied actuarial science at college.
So you started with MOS 2013, and I know Martha, who's your teacher, was heavily involved in getting you certified and excited. When did you first learn about the MOS Championship, and how did you decide that you wanted to compete?
From the time that I got into the certification facilities, they tell you that if you get 900 plus points on the certification exam, you have a chance to compete on the university championship, I would say. And they explain on a really short time what is the competition and what it is about, and about previous competitors. And yeah, if you get plus 900 points, you get to a conference where all the other students on the university are that got the plus 900 points. And then it's like a 1 or 2 hour session when they explain all of the roles, because you have to compete with people at the university. Then you have to go through regional championships, the national championship, and then the world championship. So it was like a lot of information, but it was great.
So you had to compete obviously at multiple levels. what support did your school and Martha, your teacher, what support did they provide to you?
Marta gave us a lot of support because she was not my teacher at my school. She certificate a lot of people across all the university.
Mm,
So she is the one that takes care of all the students that get into the regional or internal championships, and she gives us a lot of support on the technical side and also on the emotional side.
mm,
But from my school, what I got was a lot of opportunities like a sponsorship for this, or you get a prize for this. That was cool. And also like some teachers gave me the flexibility to take less classes so I could prepare better for the championship.
man, it's like an athlete in training for the Olympics
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, but also sometimes was kind of fair because the students who got like on the teams of soccer or
Mhm.
football got a lot more of attention,
Yeah.
sponsorships, and yeah. But I think that at least on my school, on my secondary school, they already have like in place this competition because we have been like 5 or 6 students at the national championship from that school.
Yeah.
So they really push for it. And if you need something, they really help a lot.
So having that support from the teachers and administrators obviously was super
Yeah.
important. And I know one of the things that you and I have talked about is the hours and hours that you spent practicing and preparing. And I know a lot of the students submitted questions for what resources did you use and how did you prepare? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would like to say that I spend 1 hour a day, but that is not the real. I when I when I was competing for the first time, it was a lot of time because
Mhm,
I came from my school to the city that is Toluca. It's an 1 hour trip, and I came like I think that at 1 p.m.
mhm.
or 2 p.m. and then I went back to my home like at 9 or something like that, and my
Wow.
parents waited for me where the bus stop was. So I think that I spent like net 5 or 6 hours each day. But I also think that sometimes it was kind of necessary because we didn't have like the most optimal like resources to train or
Mhm,
something. So for the next years, we have been like reducing a bit the time, but improving the quality of the content.
mhm,
And for example, for 2018, I also had like more projects at uni and things like that. And I only could spend like 3 hours a day. But for example, on my spare time, I used to think about like the procedures or things about PowerPoint, or learn the hotkeys. And I also try to keep myself like busy on that
mhm.
and don't spend time on video games or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I love that you talked about kind of improving every year and you were able to master a lot of it so that you didn't have to spend as much time. And one of the questions that students asked, and I know other people have used, is the expert exams in preparing kind of for the competition. Did you use those? Didn't you use those? What were your primary like training tools?
We have a lot, we have developed a lot of tools, but at the start it was obviously use Gmetrics,
Mm-hmm,
some projects that not specific for the competition or of Certiport, but some projects that we found online, and also doing the certification exams. That was like our first iteration. And then we discovered like that other people were using other kind of simulator that is Jasper Active.
mm-hmm,
Then we went and discovered that, used that. It was kind of easy, so we moved on and started to do like around projects. You see the certification projects on the Certiport exams. We tried to develop something similar, but using some other skills and basically reading the topics. I don't know
Hmm.
how is it called, the list of topics, and basically working from that. And then, for example, we went to a bit more of iterations to use like that list of topics and sit in front of the student and ask, do that on their computer, do
Hmm.
that on your computer, and then you have like this text box, apply this or use this. So it's been like um, some changes, but I think that that's the way that I prepared, and I say like we prepare because I try to help to the people that compete at my university still. So for example, last year we started to do like creative projects. Uh, like we give you like a list of topics, and then you have to develop like some project that makes sense, not only that
Hmm.
has the things that are required, but that is if somebody that doesn't know about the competition sees it or like reads it or something, can understand what you are doing and thinks that looks cool at least.
I like that you guys kind of used a bunch of different resources, but then in the end, it was more about finding projects, right, and testing your own skills outside of just the testing tools. And I
Yeah,
think that's what the competition is supposed to be about, right? It's not just a test, it's being able to show how you use the software.
yeah, and I think that this approach is cool because, for example, at the when I went to the 2016 championship, I went to the championship, came back with the. If you asked me to do a nice project, I will still use the tools, but the project won't look good. So with the next iterations, I think that you also keep those skills for the future. Because, for example, one of my bosses asked me to do a presentation, a really important presentation about all the data products that we had like at the company, at the
Mm.
team. And I really had the skill to do something like useful and iterate from that. So for me, I think that this is a better approach, because if you don't win at the competition, you get something for life.
Yeah, the competition is just one part of the journey, right? It's not just about
Yeah.
competing, it's about being able to use the skills. I think that that's awesome. But I know the competition and being able to participate in that experience was a huge part of your journey. And one of the questions that we had from quite a few students is, what was your favorite part of coming to the competitions and competing?
Going to the competition, I think it was the moment on the testing room, because I never felt that connected on my life in front of a computer. I felt like I was in another world, and it was really fun, because then you get out of it and you feel like the pressure is off, and you kind of, some people feel sad, some people feels happy, but I think that going to that through that good and important moment is something that changed my life, because it made me realize how much I have achieved at that moment, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that I wasn't conscious until I got onto the testing room and did the exam. So it was like the best part of going, but the best part for me of the championship is all of the training, because I learned a lot about myself, a lot about what ways I learn the best, or
Mm-hmm.
what learning tools are the best for me, and not only for a championship but for life. And also like developed some other skills, like more soft skills,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like really nice, because every year was different, and a lot of different lessons were learned every time. So it was amazing.
And one of the things that I noticed, so I was privileged to know you from some of the first years that you competed on to the end, and we just had you back this last year as one of our student ambassadors. And I noticed how confident you were coming back as a student ambassador. And so I feel like the competition was really transformative in helping you develop that confidence.
Yeah, I think that is most on the way that you take like the setbacks. Because for me, not winning the championship was obviously a disappointment on myself. I was like at the championships, I was really sad after I didn't win. But after the 2018 championship, I think that I managed it on a better way, because I said like, okay, you came and you are the on the top 5 of the world. I mean, there is only 4 people better than you on this, so I think that it's uh, something cool, probably something to flex. But also, I think that uh, from that I learned that, for example, getting nervous before of the exam, and sometimes I even went to the toilet to puke before or after the exam, made me like be not be on my top level. So
Hmm.
I learned from that, and then I went to do the exams of the Society of Actuaries,
Mm.
and those were huge. And people at my school, like I 10 people were at sorry, if 10 people attempted it, only 5 passed or something
Wow.
like that. And never we have never seen someone to take like a 9 or a 10 on those exams.
Mm.
And I got a 9 and a 10 on those exams. But it was just because I worked on myself,
Hmm.
and take that part out of being nervous before something important. And from that, I really feel more confident on everything I do about. On my work, it also helps a lot, because sometimes you have to deliver critical models or
Yeah.
critical data. And if you are confident of your work, and not only be confident after before pushing the code to the database, but also when you are developing it. So I think that I make some mistakes, or sometimes
Yeah. Well, in talking about soft skills, I feel like you've mentioned a lot of things that you took away from the competition, being able to bounce back from difficulties and setbacks, but also being able to feel confident in yourself and your skills. And I know for a lot of students, testing anxiety is very real. So you talked about feeling super nervous, but I think the more you're exposed and the more you challenge yourself and your abilities, you gain that confidence, right? And I love hearing that the competition did that for you. um One of the things that we also wanted to ask about is, and I know you've touched on this a little bit already, is how has certification in the competition helped you now that you're in your career, now that you've graduated from college? How has certification helped you along the way?
Yeah, the most certification, I think that are the base of my career, because before that I was a really average student or below average. As a matter of fact, I went through a course 2 times, because I
Hmm.
didn't pass it the first time before competing. But then I went to the course after competing, and I got a 10, so like 10 out of 10. So I mean, it's really fun, because it's like a miracle, I would say. But
Yeah.
no, it's just a matter of hard work. And from then I also kept like the value of certification on myself. And for example, now that I work like more on a cloud environment, because everything is on the cloud now,
Hmm.
and I learned that Amazon Web Services was a thing, that Microsoft Azure was a thing. And with the tool that I like the most, and Microsoft might be a bit mad at me, but I like the most Amazon Web Services, also because it's the tool that I use at my
Hmm.
job. And I got the certification book now with Amazon Web Services. So now I have one certification for that. And I noticed that people at my university don't even know what the cloud is. So
Hmm.
I tried to push that as a university, we become like a Amazon Web Services university, and start promoting what is cloud and things like that. And for that work, Amazon have a program that is all builders welcome here, that is at reInvent 2022 this year at Las Vegas. So I won a trip to Las Vegas for the next month with, like, is this, I feel like it's the same as the competition, because you get the airfare, you get the hotel room, you get the event. So I'm really excited for that opportunity, but I really think that is something that I got from the first certification that I did, that I did, because those were the base. So also on another side, I think that being able to learn something like quick or on a job environment is not the same as if you learn and then you certify that knowledge, because sometimes also you learn something different. For example, at my company, there are some processes that are slow, but now that I have certification, I have like another point of view, because I feel like at a company, you get the knowledge that other people at your company have. So if someone comes with a certification, it has like more knowledge. Also, always the tools are gonna have like on their certifications the content that is brand new. So I have been able to bring a lot of new ideas to my company, and I also feel that is part of the certification journey.
Well, I feel like what you're sharing is that it's opened so many doors, but it also allows you to bring something to the table, right? You gaining these skills allows you to add something back to your company, to your university, and so being able to share that with other students, I think is just such an amazing privilege.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you bring something to the table, the life is gonna reward you.
Exactly.
So you get more opportunities every time.
So a couple of the questions that were asked kind of fall into the same category of what advice would you give to other students looking to get started with Microsoft or who are looking to compete in the MOS championship?
I think that I will just say the phrase of the quote of the championship this year, that was like, how think, dream, believe, dare, because I think that is like what you have to do, because you see some people like going at most championships or doing amazing stuff. So sometimes you feel like, yeah, okay, this is cool. So for example, for me, the start dream, because I have never got on a plane. I got like what is to the airport, 2016 brand new truck or car. I don't remember what it was, but it was really nice, and everything felt like a dream. Then you compete. You to not only to compete but also to get certified, because I think that sometimes we're scared to do the things because we feel like we are gonna fail, or we feel bad if we fail. But I think that what I always say to people is that if you don't pass an exam, or if you don't go to the championship, you are not gonna die. You are still going to be alive, and you can try again. So I think that is more of losing that fear to lose, because you don't enjoy really the exam. You are just like putting pressure on yourself about failing, and you should be more relaxed about it, because you can try 100 times more and learn. What is important more than passing is to learn from your mistakes. For example, after each exam that I take, I still keep that like mantra. Is like review what I did. If I can't review the questions, I review it on my mind. Like, I think that this is right, but could be better on this way, or I did this and it was wrong. So I try to not only learn from the bad, but also for the good, from the good parts. And I think that just it's just an iteration process.
Yeah.
But losing the fear is the most important part.
I love that, losing the fear. I think that that's such good advice. A couple other questions that were submitted were, we'll start with, how would you convince a student who is on the fence about taking the certification to take the exam and get certified? And I know you talked about having to do this with some of your friends too. So,
Mm, I had a pair of friends or some friends that I thought that would be like a good fit for the
mhm,
competition. So at first, getting them certified, especially at college, is hard because people don't think that a Microsoft Office certification is going to add value to their career or something like that. But I think that having that knowledge on Office is a basic skill that all
mhm,
of us should know. And what I say to other people is like, if you get to the top of a company, you are still gonna have to send an email, or you are still gonna have
yeah,
to do some presentation, or to do some document on Word, or you have to do a quick calculation on Excel. So you really need that those skills. And I think that what people doesn't see is that they still lack a lot of knowledge, because if you can change the color of a font and the size and write something on Word, doesn't mean that you really know what the capabilities of the program are.
mhm,
So I think that is more of losing the fear to do a certification, but also losing that that ego. I think of
yeah,
that is a basic skill
mhm,
or something. But for people that is really young, I think that is more the fear of failing, because sometimes you feel a certification as something really serious, and it's really serious, but you should have in consideration that you can try 100 times more.
yeah. I like that. Losing a little bit of the ego, right? Being okay with not knowing, but then also realizing how long term these skills really are. Because,
Yeah,
like you said, no matter how high up in a company you get, you're still going to be using Office software, and being able to leverage that in any career path that you choose is something
yeah,
that's so important.
and
Yeah.
those skills always come handy, because sometimes you see people struggling to do something with code for some couple of rows of data, and you see like, yeah, you could be doing that on Excel in 2 seconds. So why are you struggling with that
Yeah.
if you don't necessarily need to do it with code? So I think that older people sometimes think that the most complicated is the better. So
Yeah.
uh,
Which isn't
knowing the
always true,
basics
right?
is always good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we had a couple other questions that have been submitted as we've been chatting. One of them is, how did you manage to organize your other school activities around also competing in the competition? How did you balance those two?
It took a really a lot of discipline, because if I did something like, for example, at my school, going out to play soccer, I
Hmm.
would already lost like an hour
Hmm.
that I could have used for doing my homework when I was at school, on my spare hours at school. So I think that the first part is realizing what do you want. um, you want to go to the competition, you want to do
Yeah.
good. So the first part is setting that goal. And when you have to take decisions, is thinking about it. And then is getting a bit more organized, or ask for help, because at first I was really afraid of asking for help to my friends
Yeah.
or to my teachers. And if you don't talk, people are never gonna help you, because they are not just gonna say, hey, do you want to not take classes or something like that. So no, you really need to communicate with others. And also you need to, I would say, like, mm, to work hard, because for example, sometimes the first year at training, I was like, okay, I am training 2 or 3 hours, but half an hour, I was chatting just with the people around me and hanging around. That was cool,
Mhm.
and it's fun. But if your goal is to win a championship, I think that is not the best to use an hour on that. So I think
Yeah.
that is that part, like asking for help and being really on the path to win. Like you have to set that goal.
Yeah, being disciplined with your time, right? Being able to prioritize things, and going back to what you said before about the soft skills that you learned. I think that's a really big one, is being able to figure out how to prioritize what you need to do.
And as a young student, it's really hard to do that
Yeah.
because you have never done that before.
Yeah.
So I think that one important part again is to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I talked to my teacher, one teacher that I had a lot of confidence with at my school, and I said, "Look, I don't know how I can manage all of this because I
Yeah.
felt overwhelmed at some moments." And talking with her was like really nice because she started to tell me like nice things, like you are already on a good position not only
Mhm.
for the competition but for life. So it's a big opportunity that you currently don't have, so use it. And one thing that I also have like pinned on my Twitter on my Twitter page is like let me look it. I look at it like too quick, but it's something like there are opportunities that are once in a lifetime. Make
Mhm.
it count. I think that is it's just like that. Um, yeah, there are opportunities that you will have once in a lifetime. Make them count.
Yeah.
So she told me that, and I have been thinking about it since then. So I think that realizing that the time is not gonna get back if you don't do the things that you have to do.
Yeah. And being able to
That
use
is,
that time wisely, right?
yeah.
Well, we're almost, and we are a little bit over on time. I feel like we could end up talking for a lot longer, but I just wanted to read one of the comments that came through. Um, one of our teachers said, I love that he is giving the real look at what it takes to compete. The time these kids put in performing their craft is akin to a varsity sport. Well done, Juan. So I just wanted to make sure we ended on that note, because I think that it is important. I know all of the time that you and other competitors put into practicing and preparing, and I think it really pays off, because look at where you are today. And I know that you're in a place where you've been able to use your skills to land an amazing career. And I think that that's what every teacher and every student ultimately wants in the end. So thank you so much for taking time to share your story with us, Juan. You're so inspirational. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And about that, I always try to be real on what it takes, because
Mhm.
sometimes it feels like a paradise, like when people just see like the part when you go to Disney and don't realize all of the uh, hard work that you have to do to
Yeah.
be in there. So I
Yeah.
think that sharing that is really important, and I think that this series is like really nice for that, because you kind of get like the backstory of a competitor.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I just dropped into the chat, for those who are still with us, the link to our next Ask a MOS Champion session. So we hope that you're able to join us for that. And I know we had a couple questions about how to find out about regional competitive events and how to get involved. So I also dropped the link to the MOS Championship website, where you can get some more information there. But we just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. We're so grateful that we got to spend part of your Friday afternoon with you. If you have any other questions or want to get involved in the competition, we would encourage you to reach out, or even questions for Juan. I'll make sure that we field those for him. So we have our email address, MOS Championship, and I dropped that into the chat as well, moschampionship@pearson.com. So we encourage you to please reach out to us, connect with us. We would love to answer these questions in our next session as well. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Juan, for sharing your story, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I also shared my website and
Perfect.
site, so if anyone wants to connect, like feel free to reach out.
Oh, looks like that just went to the panelists. Let me drop this in so everyone can see that. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Juan. Thank you everyone for being with us. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.